Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video for my channel, and actually something a bit different than we are regularly doing. Normally, we're doing tips and tricks and low elo content on this channel for Valorant, but with VCT Champions coming up and with a lot of people in the community talking about who they think will make it out of groups, what their tier lists are, I thought I might as well show you what I think potentially is going to happen at VCT. I don't really like the tier list system, so I've gone the old-fashioned way. I've gone through Pickems. I've done what my picks are, and I'm going to go through who I think is going to make out of groups. And then also probably just potentially touch on who I think might go all the way. Obviously, it's a little bit difficult to fully map out the entirety of the tournament, as there will be a draw once we have the winners of groups. But I will probably give at least my top three to win this tournament. I think most people probably have two out of the three being the same, but please by all means do let me know in the comments who you think will potentially win this tournament, and if you agree, disagree. I think there's going to be potentially, I know, one take that someone or people will not agree with, but we shall see. We'll get there. But yeah, before I get any further, just want to say if you are looking for any Valorant content, like I said, if you're looking for sort of low rank, low elo Valorant content, this is the best place to be. So hit a drop on the subscribe button. It's completely free as always. And then if you ring that notification bell, at least keep you up to date on any content that I put out, so you'll be first to know as soon as it pops. And also, if you like the Valorant Pro content from my side, please leave the video a like. It will at least tell me that this content is something I should potentially do further on. But hey, with that all being said, let's get straight into what the pick'ems are. And we're going to start with Group A. Now, if you aren't aware who are in Group A, I will drop them down here. So this is Group A. We have PRX, Crew, Esports, Giants, and EDG. So the first matchup, I've realised I've done this as a box, and it's just not going to work. So I might as well just reveal it all in one. So we will, boom, just do this. So for this group, I believe PRX and EDG are going to be the ones that make it through. I think Crew's fantastic Cinderella story will well, it hit its first snag when it comes up against PRX. It's looking like something is going to be, or is currently traveling with the team over to LA. And if he is in that team, even when he's not in that team, like they came third in Masters with a content creator, and I don't think that gets talked about enough. I think that gets slept on massively. And once something is in that team, they are going to steamroll so many people. Crew are going to be one of them. I genuinely think this will be a 2-0. I think this will be really easy. I think Crew drop to the lower bracket instantly. For the second match of the game, EDG, Can is the GOAT on the op. I will not have anyone say anything otherwise. The dude just does things on that gun that no one else really is, and I don't think anyone else has so far in this game. He's just so good. But he will, yeah, not just him. The whole team are fantastic, but I think EDG are probably going to have too much for Giants, and they will progress on to place PRX or PRX in the next match. The elimination, I do think Crew, with the momentum that they had in the LCQ in the NA, in the Americas at least, sorry, will carry some of that, and it will get them over Giants, as long as they play how they've been playing against like Leviathan, especially in that Leviathan, that final. They just played some fantastic Valorant. So if they can keep doing that, I think they genuinely will play well against Giants and take that win. It could be a 2-1, but I think that will ultimately go their way. And then I think that's potentially where the match ends for them, as they will then face EDG, who will subsequently, yeah, they'll do probably the same thing they did to Giants. I don't think the game will be that close, and I think you'll see EDG pulling out performances like they did at Masters. As I say, I sort of didn't really touch on that beforehand. Paper X, something, again, they this team beat EDG at Masters, and that was without something. With something, they will beat them again. It's just how it goes. So yeah, that's that match. That's match up. Those two guys, those two teams are going to be ones that go through. I think these guys will probably go quite far. I think this potentially is the group that has the two teams that will go the furthest. Let's say if that's a like a if that makes sense, the combination of the two will be the highest position at the end, as opposed to maybe the other two winners from each groups. But that's not to say that I think these guys are going to be first and second. So with that being said, we'll move on to Group B. So in Group B, if you've forgotten already who is going to be in it, here they are there. We've got EG, FPX, Foot, and T1. Now, this group, I'm going to be honest, probably gave me the most. This was probably the hardest one, I think. I think this is where I potentially get something wrong. I think the other ones I'm pretty confident on. I think this one is where I have the most potential to be wrong. So my my pickings for this is that the two teams that go through are EG and T1. So I think EG are the obvious favorites to win this group, and again, similar with EDG, if they can keep the performances that they did at Tokyo, they will 2-0 FPX and they'll 2-0 Foot, and they will get themselves straight through. They played some phenomenal Valorant at Masters Tokyo. Boostio was absolutely insane in that game. I personally think he was potentially the standout. Com was doing sort of things that I think a lot of people expected Com to do, and he showed sort of signs of doing that in the regular season. I don't think he ever performed as well as maybe let's say I hoped that he was going to perform in the regular season, but in that Tokyo tournament he's really stepped up. I think as well. Ethan is just a sound player. I think he's potentially one of the best players in the league in terms of consistency. I think he has been fantastic for the last like 18 months, and I do think he's flown under the radar for most people, but he's been really good. And I think on this EG roster, he's been given the opportunity to sort of really show just how good he is. But yeah, that whole roster, they were great. And, Demon One is obviously just an absolute animal. I don't think he played as well at Tokyo. Well, I think everyone probably agrees with that. He didn't play as well at Tokyo, especially in the games that mattered. I think against Fnatic in the final, he was left missing. It felt like they were almost a 4 versus 5 in a lot of those in those matches. But that being said, the numbers and just the plays that man was putting up in the regular season, if he can bring that to LA to Champions, EG are going to be a very, very tough team to beat. And I think, as I say, through the group, they're going to 2-0 both and just not drop a map and then go straight through. So what happens to the other spot? What happens from there? So I think Foot and T1, I think Foot's going to have they're going to have a lot of hype coming into this. I don't think anyone expected them to be in this position that they are. And I think they are going to come soaring into this, and they're going to play a really close game against T1. I could potentially see, Foot going up 1-0, T1 clawing up, like potentially their map pick back, but it being very close, and then Foot Esports coming out and doing some incredible plays in that third game and taking it. To which T1 will go. They will beat FPX. T1 have been actually a very good team. In the Pacific, they've really only lost to like PRX and DRX. The two teams that finished above them. They've had some really good performances, and they've got some standout players in that team that I really think can turn up when they need to. And then we get the reverse of the same fixture for the first match. I think Foot potentially start to see the wheels come off the wagon when they lose 2-0 to EG. They then have to play T1, who are feeling pretty confident, having already taken one map off of Foot, beating FPX potentially 2-0. And I think then T1 reversed them. Technically, well, I guess that's a reverse, but they reversed the fixture from last time. They reversed the result from last time. They beat Foot. I think it will be a 2-1 as well. I don't think that'll be a close match. But as I say, this was the one that I really struggled with. I just maybe it's a little bit of EMEA sort of copium, but I was thinking that Foot would at least win one match. They can't lose. They can't just go straight out. I really am happy that those guys got through. But yeah, I think T1 probably take that final spot through from groups. So that's yeah, that's my group for B. Let's move on to Group C. And so coming in Group C, this is the teams below: Fnatic, Zeta, NRG, and Bilibili. I'm pretty sure like 99% of people will probably be picking the same two teams out of this, but let's just go through this for the sake of going through it, shall we? Yeah, I've picked Fnatic and NRG. Shocked. Did anyone else pick that? I'm also pretty sure that people have picked it in the exact same way that I have, and that is Fnatic will beat Zeta in the first game, NRG will beat Bilibili, Fnatic and NRG will play each other, Fnatic will win that, they'll then play the winner of Zeta and Bilibili, which will be Zeta, they'll then beat Zeta, and it will be NRG and Fnatic through. Um, I think Fnatic potentially 2-0 both these games. I think that's maybe my hot take for this match. That they 2-0 NRG. I think there's a chance that it's not even close as well. Like we're talking sort of 13-5 both matches. Both maps, sorry. Um, I I still have weight in NRG because the Optic core are fantastic. Ardis as an individual is fantastic. Som is potentially my favorite player in North America. He is just so underrated. I think again he's another person that's been so consistent for the last like 18 sort of 12 to 18 months, and no one's really been talking about him as much, or not as much as I think he personally deserves to be talked about. But their Masters performance left me wanting more. I think they underperformed. I think that's probably fair to say that they underperformed. I think in the regular season, in Americas, I keep saying NA, but in Americas, they underperformed as well. I don't think they've performed to the potential that they could have. And ultimately, I don't think they're going to be. I think a lot of people were weighing them as like their number one, like their sort of top three, top four potentially, and I don't think they will be. But I do think that they get out this group, and that's probably an easy one. I just think sadly for Zeta and for Bilibili, they've been drawn potentially the short straw. Um, I think even if you put Bilibili in Group B, maybe there's a chance that they potentially get out of that, depending on some good runs. I think if you put Zeta in that group, they definitely get out of it. Potentially even A as well. Yeah, they've just been drawn against an absolute powerhouse and a team that are very well drilled, have a fantastic in-game leader, have a fantastic coach, and are just stacked talent top to bottom anyway. So, yeah, I think these are the two guys that go through. That is my Group C. I don't think there's any surprises there. Let's move on to Group D, and let's get some surprises in, because I think this is potentially where some people I might lose some people, let's say. And so we are on to the final group, Group D. Here are the teams, if you weren't aware. I'm pretty sure everyone knows who's in this group, because this is classed as a group of death. Liquid, Na'Vi, Loud, and DRX. I'm really interested to know that if people are watching up until this point, I want to see what the click off rate by the time I get rid of this little box here, because as I say, I don't think there's going to be many people that are going to be agreeing with this. But yeah, I think that the two teams that are going to make it through are Liquid and DRX. So Na'Vi have been just awful, like just awful. And there was a moment when I started doing these that I actually had Liquid and Na'Vi to be the ones to go through, just purely off of the back of Sugetsu and Shao. But I just don't think there's enough for me to say. Like their performances, and I know that the final in the LCQ meant nothing because both teams qualified, but that was just a horrendous match. Some of their regular season matches have been awful. The lock-in match, I know that was a while ago, horrendous. They've just not been up to like, if you look at this team from top to bottom, they are all champions, which is like as in Masters champions, which is, I don't think there's another team outside of basically Fnatic that can say that. And yet they're performing so poorly, and I just don't understand it. Well, I do understand it, but I'm not going to start, trashing people, because I am nowhere near as good as these people. But ultimately, I think this team is probably going to be something that's going to get restructured quite heavily. In the off season, I think they'll probably still be keeping Sugetsu and Xiao, because those guys are fantastic. But yeah, I'd be interested to see what happens for them. So they lose to Liquid. Liquid, on the other hand, are a well-oiled machine. They have some fantastic talent in that team from top to bottom. Safe and Yampi are just so consistent. If you ever need someone to clutch for you, Yampi's going to clutch it. You have Redgar, who is going to consistently get himself killed within the first 10 seconds, because ultimately he doesn't need to be alive. He can just shot call, and then he can ultimately, he can let Yampi clutch. He can let Safe get the kills and make calls for them. And also they have Nats, and there's not many people in the world that are as clutch as that man is. He's just, when the moment comes down to it, he's very irritating to play against. He is just so slippery. He is like the king of the rats, which I rate because I'm a Viper main, so it's all good. But yeah, he's just quality, and yeah, I can see Liquid just absolutely stomping them in this. And then we go to the other match, because we've spoken way too much about the EMEA teams, but that's my fault because EMEA stan. DRX and Loud. I think Loud win this game, and I think it's close. If what has been said, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, then there's plenty of videos you can go find out what's been going on with Loud. But ultimately, it looks like they're in shambles at the moment. They're not even scrimming with their star player, potentially Aspas, depending on who you ask. And in my eyes, he's definitely their star player. Some people are even saying, does he actually play with them at this tournament? I think he does, because he stayed in LA anyway. But yeah, they're not scrimming with him at the moment, supposedly, if you believe the rumors, which a lot of people are saying is definitely true. So if that is true, they are going to be in a bit of a shambles. I expect them to come into this game and win it 2-1, and they'll probably rally in that third game and do pretty well. But that is where things start, like the cracks start to show. And when they lose to Liquid, which I think they will, that's when that'll be it for them. The wheels will be off the cart, and I've said that now twice. But that will be it. I think you'll start seeing the cracks. I've completely skipped the elimination match, but again, as I said, Na'Vi playing terrible. They get eliminated by DRX, who I know that a lot of people, they were like the biggest flop from Masters Tokyo for a lot of people, but I still think that when push comes to shove, they are a quality team. And I think, again, if you want to listen to all of the things they've been telling people, they've been basically prepping for this moment. So it either means that it all worked, or I've just been lied to and I'm gonna look like a fool. But let's go with this. So yeah, they knock out Na'Vi pretty simply, and then I think they go and 2-1 Loud, because I think Loud potentially win the first game. DRX get their map pick, they win that, and then Loud start shaking. And because everything else is in tatters, it just does not go well for them, and DRX knock them out, and they take the final spot. So I'm pretty sure that there's plenty of people that are calling me idiot, they're calling me stupid, they're saying that's never going to happen, but let's wait and see. I'm very excited. I'm not all for the collapse of a team, but I'm a huge fan of an underdog story. And in this scenario, I would say DRX are the underdog because of how they performed at Tokyo, and I think a lot of people put them down in that. And I'd love to see them do it. But anyway, so that is those are the people that I have to win. So just to go through them, so you've got them all here. These are the teams that I think are going to make it out of groups. And as I said, it's very difficult to try and then plan the rest of this, because this will be done via like a draw of who goes where. And I'm not actually even sure what the format is. I need to double check. But I think it is single elimination from that point onwards. Not sure, but either way, I'm going to say the three teams that I believe have the strongest chance to win this tournament, in reverse order, let's say. So I think at the third highest, yeah, the third highest chance of winning, I'm going to put EG. They, as I say, Masters, fantastic performance. If they can bring that in again, there is no doubt in my mind that they get a top four finish, and they could even potentially go all the way, depending on how the bracket, if the bracket suits them, if they have to face, Fnatic on that side, and there's a chance that they can knock them out before the final, and it's a PRX and them final. I'd love to see that. In a grand final, see how it goes. Be really interesting to see. And if you can then potentially guess my second and first off of the two teams that I've just mentioned, second place will go to Paper X in my eyes, or second most likely to win will be Paper X. With something in that team, that gives them a little bit more. Obviously, they finished third at Masters Tokyo. With something in the team potentially that can catapult them to second, maybe even first. But my favourites, and again, it isn't just because I'm an EMEA stan, although it is a little bit, it's going to be Fnatic. Actually, that's got nothing to do with I'm an EMEA stan. If there's any doubt in your mind as to whether or not this is the best team in the world, go back and watch any match other than the grand final of the EU finals, or the EMEA finals. Sorry, that league is just EU teams. But anyway, go back and watch any match, whether it's normal season, whether it's Tokyo, whether it's lock-in, and tell me how a team counter plays them if they play to their game. I think the game that they lost to Liquid was more Liquid being up for it and Fnatic potentially being a little bit undercooked for it. I think Fnatic may have gone into that going, we're going to win it. Don't worry about it. And then when they started losing, they were like, oh, we need to wake up. We need to get ready for this. And then they didn't get ready for this, or they just couldn't, you can't, it's quite difficult to psych yourself, get yourself in that mindset, completely flip it that quickly. And yeah, and Team Liquid were too much on it. As I say, well oiled machine, that team. And that was that for them. But every other game they've played, they've just been dominant. Like, when they play how they want to play, when they are on it, there is no countering them. They have the answer to everything you throw at them. They will control the tempo. They'll let you control the tempo because they'll know how to play into it. They will be able to adapt and change how they're playing on the fly, mainly down to how just well oiled Mini has them, but also just how fantastic of an IGL Boaster is. Durka is potentially the best duelist in the game. I think it's a three-way tie at the moment between him, between Aspas, and between something. Leo it will become the best player in the game, and Chronicle is Chronicle. Again, there's no other person that's won more tournaments than him. Again, when you want to talk about someone that's going to be clutch, him. I just think there is so much to that team. There is so little that people can do. I haven't even mentioned Alfier in that. The man puts up stats like no one's. Like, he is just absurd, and I think actually everyone sort of downplays Boaster, and I understand kind of why he's not as mechanically strong as the rest of them. I think Alfier actually might be the best player on that team. Stats wise, I think he's almost is the best player on that team, and just he's just so good at the game. He's just so good at Valorant. So yeah, I don't think there's any way, but I'm gonna stop creaming over Fnatic now. That's probably too much. But those are my three teams that I think that will make it, or the most likely to win out of those 8 that I have picked. Let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know why you think picking DRX is a joke and picking Loud to be knocked out is a crime. I'm so happy to hear it, but please do tell me. And yeah, maybe even tell me your rate or who you think might potentially win. I'm really interested to know. But if you want to have a further discussion about this, my Discord will be in the link. You can jump over. We can get in that general chat channel. We can have a little talk about it. I'd be all for it. Or if you want to have a talk with me live about it, you can head on over to Twitch. I'll be streaming live throughout the week. It's kind of sporadic. Normally it's a Monday. I'm pretty crap with a schedule, but hey, if you want to find out when, the best place is to go to Discord. I'll post in there when I'm going live, and you can hit up the stream. Tell me why I'm wrong, and we can have a good chat about VCT whilst you're watching me suck at Valorant. So anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you got through this far, and I hope you've enjoyed 20 odd minutes of me rambling pretty much about why I love Fnatic and everyone else sucks. But yeah, let me know if you liked this video as well. If you like this type of content, I'm happy to start doing more pro Valorant content. It's stuff that I enjoy watching anyway, so if I'm going to start making content about it, please leave a like on this video. That will then tell me, hey, you guys like this content, and I will start making more of it. But anyway, have a good one. Thank you for watching. Peace out, and hopefully you guys enjoy VCT Champions starting 6th of August. Peace out.